In the fast-paced world of small business ownership, staying organized is a crucial factor in maintaining efficiency and achieving success. As a studio manager or studio owner, you're also a project manager. Whether you're hiring, marketing, or training your teachers, it's your responsibility to ensure that tasks and projects are completed on time and within budget. So in this episode, we're going to explore the 5 essential steps that studio owners can take to stay organized and keep your operations running smoothly. By implementing just a few of these strategies, you'll be better equipped to tackle challenges, meet deadlines, and achieve your business goals. Let's dive in and discover how you can optimize your organizational skills for maximum productivity. Well, hi there, I'm Seran Glanfield. I'm a business and marketing strategist just for boutique fitness studio owners like you. If you're ready to be inspired and make a bigger impact, you're in the right place. All you need are a few key strategies, the right mindset, and some support along the way. Join me as I share the real-life insights that will help you grow a sustainable and profitable studio. This is the Pilates Business Podcast. Welcome back to the Pilates Business Podcast. I'm Seran, and I'm so happy that you're here again with me today, listening in to this episode of the Pilates Business Podcast. I've been pretty excited to talk about the topic of today's episode because it really is such an important one to discuss. Now, I share all sorts of business tips, marketing tips, strategies, growth strategies, inspiration, ideas about how you can grow and optimize your studio business all the time, whether it's here on the podcast, in articles I write, or inside of my business coaching program, Thrive. And the thing about all of those things that you could be doing right now to support your business growth and improve profitability and optimize your operations is that in order to get to that place, you need to take action. And frankly, without action, you will go nowhere. Nothing will change unless you do something to change it, right? Now, what I find is that that is often the part that keeps you stuck. How do you find the time to take the action that needs to be taken? And it really is so incredibly common to find yourself as a business owner, as a studio owner, feeling stuck because you're doing so many things. You are doing often all the things and often doing all the things on your own. And that can leave you feeling frustrated that you're not able to get to that thing that you really want to do, that you know will really help your business grow or will make your life easier. Or perhaps you're like so many studio owners who know exactly what they want, but they don't know where, they're not sure where to start or which action to take first. You guys, this is exactly why I developed the framework that I use inside of Thrive. You see, inside Thrive, it's not just about sharing strategies and inspiration and templates and resources and all of that great stuff that I share. It's also about giving you access to the framework that facilitates focus and action on the specific things that will really move the needle for your business, all while helping you to develop those habits and those skills that will set you up for success, not just while you're working with me inside of Thrive, but for many years to come. Now, these sorts of systems are often that missing component in a studio business, especially one that feels chaotic or exhausting to you as a studio owner. So I want to share with you some of my favorite ways to stay organized and out of overwhelm. So today I'm going to share 5 specific steps that you can take to stay organized. Now, the very first one is going to be the most obvious sounding, but so incredibly important, and often the part that frankly is skipped a little more often than I would like, and that is to set clear goals and priorities. And this sounds very simple and very, very obvious, but if you have ever taken my planning masterclass or been a part of any workshop that I've done where I invite you to create your goals and set your goals, you'll know that it's not just about making this wish list or laundry list of things that you could be doing. What you in order to really make a difference and make an impact, you're going to want to identify those very specific projects or action items that need to be implemented or completed. And you're going to want to set, perhaps even beyond that, specific action items that will help you, or milestones that will move you toward that ultimate goal. And as you do that, these are not things that happen in a vacuum, because we all know that you have got a lot of other things going on in your business. And so we also have to take into consideration the fact that while you've got these other projects or goals that you might want to achieve, things that you might want to implement, things you might want to do, your business is still going to continue on. And there are other responsibilities that you have for other activities that you need to undertake in your business. So we want to make sure that you're being thoughtful about how much time this is going to take and what that timeline actually looks like. Because it's very rare that that you have the capacity to be able to take maybe 3 straight days to focus on one thing in your business. So as wonderful as that might sound, we have to be thoughtful about how we can navigate and implement these action items within the business that you already have. And that might mean being really smart and thoughtful about the time that you're spending doing other things and how much time you have available to dedicate to the particular project or goal that you want to set for yourself. So number 1 is you want to set clear goals and priorities. Now, inside of Thrive and inside of my planning workshop that everyone who joins Thrive gets access to, I give you a very specific roadmap to clarifying which set of goals or which priority, or how to prioritize your goals so that you know where to start and where to focus first. Because like I said, often that is the biggest challenge facing studio owners. Okay, number 2. The second step I recommend is that you use a project management tool. If you are like a lot of people that I speak to, a lot of studio owners, a lot of business owners, a lot of those goals are floating around in your head. And that's kind of the worst place that they can sit, because we are absolutely terrible at sort of remembering things and hanging on to things. That actually creates an enormous amount of stress. And what happens is when you take those goals out of your head and you put them onto paper, or you put them into a project management tool, then you're able to start to break that goal down into actionable items, milestones, steps that you need to take that will move you towards where you want to be. And there are many project management tools available that can really help you to stay organized, manage tasks more efficiently. Some of the ones that I like to recommend and that I've used for myself in my business, and that I recommend other studio owners use also, are software like Asana, Trello, or Basecamp. There are others like ClickUp or Monday.com, Notion, that are also fantastic as well. And I recommend that you take the time to have a look at these different types of tools that many of them actually have a free version available to you, and see which one works best for you and what you're trying to achieve. And what I like about using a project management tool like this is that it can really help you to track where you are on the task. You can track the timeline, track the progress. And if you have other people on your team that you are delegating to, which I'm going to come back to in a moment, it can help you to communicate where you are at in that project with those other people who you're working on the project alongside. So I do highly recommend, even if you are just a small studio owner, maybe even if you are a solo studio owner, honestly, having a project management tool can help just get all of those tasks that you need to do out of your head and onto paper or onto the screen, so that you can see very specifically visually what needs to be done by when. If you've got a larger team, I highly recommend having a project management tool, and it can be used in so many different ways within your business to streamline the operations, to communicate more effectively with your team. Okay, number 3. Oh my gosh, this is the most challenging one of all. You're not going to like what I'm about to say because it is the hardest thing to do. And that is to create a schedule and stick to it. Now, when we are booking clients into your schedule, when we are making dentist appointments, we put it on the calendar and it stays on the calendar and is pretty stuck on the calendar, right? Unless something comes up that, is more important. Things you have on your calendar tend to stay on your calendar. But when it comes to projects or goals that we set for our business, we often, even if we've made a list of those goals and we've written them down, we often fail to put the time in our schedules to dedicate to those action items that might need to be taken to reach those goals, right? And this is the part that often is missing. And I know it's obvious when I say it out loud, and it's so obvious when it makes so much sense, right? But it's often the part that gets skipped. And it's very easy to skip, because when you are doing so many things, sometimes the additional thing that maybe needs to get done but isn't, the sort of isn't the most critical at that moment in time, often gets pushed to later and later and later. And that's often when we see things not getting done and goals not being achieved. And so it can be really tempting to just say, okay, I'll get to it when I get to it, or I'll get to it later, or I'll have time next week, or I'll probably have time the following week. But I will tell you that you are far more likely to get to where you want to be if you dedicate time each and every week to working on your business, not in your business, on your business. And usually these additional projects or goals that you'd like to achieve, whether it's getting more clients with improved marketing, or taking the time to create systems in your business, or perhaps even transitioning from one software to another. All of these are projects that require a little bit of your time and that won't be achieved without your time. So putting it on the calendar is really important, even if it's just an hour every single week. And that's what we do inside of Thrive. Every single week we meet for an hour and we are working on setting our goals. We are working through the questions that might come up. We are working through business training, next level strategies that help you to optimize and grow your business from month to month to month. And that 60 minutes every single week is enough to create that accelerated pace of growth, and you create real momentum in your business. So I've seen it work. So I encourage you to do the same. Just set aside a little bit of time each and every week to focus on those action items that you want to undertake. Now, sometimes when you're putting things in your calendar, it can also be helpful to be clear about exactly what thing it is you want to get done in that particular hour or that particular afternoon. So you might want to include some deadlines or milestones or other information that will help you to get started and make that time as useful as possible. Okay, number 4, moving on to thinking about people other than you doing the things that need to get done. So if you don't have a team, that's okay. There is plenty of ways that you can outsource and delegate. In today's world, it is easier and simpler than it has ever been. Now, I know that as a business owner, as a studio owner, you're wearing a lot of hats. I say it all the time. I see it all the time. And, for a lot of that, there isn't another option, right? But we also want to make sure we're being thoughtful about how we're spending our time and what tasks we are doing ourselves that perhaps other people in our business or even outside of our business could take on. There is also some fantastic software out there that can save you a lot of time, and a lot of time that you spent perhaps chasing clients or sending invoices can be done by software in the click of a button. So although it might be tempting to do everything yourself, there are usually opportunities for you to delegate or outsource. And it can be challenging, especially if it's something that you have a hard time with, because maybe you've been doing things yourself for so long. And that's okay. It's a process to sort of step into the role of being a manager versus being a doer, or perhaps that combination of both. But it's really important for your growth to be able to delegate to a team of people that you trust and who are capable of taking some of those tasks off of your hands. And when it comes to delegating, there can be, some issues do often come up, especially in those early days. If again, you're doing this for the first time, but even if you're not, even if you've had a team for years, it can be still challenging to communicate efficiently and effectively. And truly that's where, a lot of the, sort of issues arise is in communication and setting expectations and setting deadlines and all of those things. And so when you have those tasks mapped out and you have a timeline for when those tasks need to be completed and you're very clear about what the tasks are, all of these things are more likely to be achieved by your team member than if you are not clear about all of those things. So you want to be sure to clearly communicate expectations and deadlines, and you want to make sure that when you're delegating, you're providing the resources and the support and the guidance that your team members might need to be successful in accomplishing those tasks. Now, I mentioned earlier the benefits of having a project management tool, and when you have a team and you're delegating things to your team, it can be really, really useful for you to be able to use that project management tool to delegate tasks to your team, because it allows you to perhaps check in on where things are at, check in on the progress, or even just simply to see whether something has been done that you would like to have gotten done. So I highly recommend delegating wherever possible. And when you do, use very, very clear communication around expectations and timeline. Okay, the final step that I want to share with you that is really helpful when it comes to staying organized as a studio owner, and that is to reflect regularly on your progress, on how things are going, on how whether or not this sort of system is working for you in your business, and then adjust as needed. So if you're someone who works on a sort of a Monday to Saturday schedule, and you hit the ground running Monday morning with a 7 a.m. client, an 8 a.m. client, a 9 a.m. client, then you might want to plan some of the tasks that you need for the week. The prior week, you might want to end your week setting yourself up for the following week. For those of you who perhaps take Monday morning as your kind of admin time, then maybe you're going to dedicate the first or the second hour of the day to planning out the things that you want to do that week and how and when you're going to squeeze in that time that you're going to dedicate to the project that you're working on currently. So being thoughtful about when you're kind of dedicating the time to planning, when you're going to dedicate the time to the doing, is all a part of setting your week and your month up, like what I call like a CEO, right? And dedicating that time to being thoughtful about and intentional, I should say, about your goals and those action items that you want to undertake. So regularly check in. Is my system working? Is this working? Am I feeling good about what I'm doing right now? Am I actually making progress on the things that I want to make progress on? And taking the time to reflect like this will help you to identify perhaps opportunities for, small changes that you can improve and make this whole system, and it is a system, even more efficient for yourself. So regular check-ins also mean you want to check in with team members to make sure that everyone is on the same page and everyone is working towards the same goals. So this is where your team meetings might come in, or even those one-on-one meetings with some of your more valuable team members, the team members that have a few more responsibilities. So there you have it. One of the secret ingredients to running a successful and thriving studio business is staying organized. This, you guys, is how you stay out of overwhelm. Having a plan and following through on that plan is how you create momentum and success inside of your business. So quick recap. First of all, you want to set clear goals and priorities. Tip number 2 is to use a project management tool. There are a few out there. I suggest you take a look and see which ones would work best for you. Number 3, put it in the calendar. Create a schedule and stick to it. Number 4, delegate wherever possible and communicate clearly. And number 5, monitor progress and adjust as needed. Now, I speak to studio owners all around the world, and I know firsthand the juggling act involved in managing a studio, from scheduling classes to overseeing instructors and ensuring that all of those things that need to happen behind the scenes happen. But when you're able to stay organized, you can streamline your process, boost efficiency, and create an environment where both your clients and your team and you can truly thrive, and perhaps even give you the ability to take a slower pace. I really hope this was helpful to you as you go about building your boutique fitness business. If you're loving what you're hearing today, I would be so appreciative if you could go to wherever you're hearing this and take a quick minute and leave a review and rate this podcast. It would mean so much to me and would help to get this podcast out there into the community so that more people just like you can be supported in our industry.